Hi everybody, it's really nice, thanks Maria, to see the first slot of the day. I hope everybody is well. So we are currently in sunny York. It's really, really lovely weather up here, which is nice. I hope the weather is good where you are too. Because I don't have anything specifically to show, apart from one bit, I'm going to just show you around the room, which is very nice, and it starts with the view outside. So something that cheers me up is looking at the sun, and especially being in it. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to doing that later today. Here's my husband.
Hi.
There's Terry. And yeah, the hotel room that we've got is amazing. So Joe McPherson, if you're watching later, thank you so much for sorting that for us. It's been incredible. The breakfast was yummy as well. So what more could we want? Yeah. And the shower is way better than our shower at home. I'll tell you that. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all good. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I wanted to just let you know a little bit about my business. And some of you might have already heard me say this with Lindsay last week and watching the interview with an echo. So I'm hoping that there's no echo on my side today. And some of you who did watch that will know about the name of my business and why that came into being, Cog Motion for All. So I'm just going to give a little recap. So Cog and Motion stands for cognitive and emotion, right? So if anybody has done or studied any form of CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, you will know that our thoughts and our emotions affect our actions. So that was the kind of thing that I was going for with the first part of that. And the for all, as in the number 4 and the word all, links to something that I knew, but when I did my instructor training, I found that that is something that people have been most interested in and most surprised by, that everyone has mental health. So for everyone, right? And I don't think people were surprised by that because they didn't know it. I think it's because a lot of people think, oh, mental health, it's a bad thing. If you have mental health, then that means that you're not very well. Actually, that's not the case. If you think about physical health, spiritual health, emotional health and mental health, everybody has that, and it's all about how we're doing. If we have a mental health condition, for example, then maybe we find certain things more difficult. But that doesn't mean that we don't have mental health on the days where things are going well. So one of the key things in my course is a continuum that we show. Now, I work by delivering courses from NUCO Training, who are a provider of mental health first aid. And there's a continuum that everybody is constantly on this continuum, kind of like a pendulum swinging between these different 4 quadrants. So if you imagine that you're either diagnosed or undiagnosed, and then either having good mental health or poor mental health. Some days you'll be in one quadrant, the other days you'll be in another quadrant. And it can move and it can change depending on the situation or the time in your life that you are in. So there is that. And unfortunately, because we're in York rather than at home, I didn't draw it out and I can't show you that on a piece of paper to illustrate my point. But if anyone is interested, then I'm absolutely delighted when I get home from York to do that illustration and to pop it in the comments. So if that's something you're interested in learning about, let me know. So I'm really here today to talk a little bit about my backstory, my training courses and my coaching business. But because I felt like we needed a visual, I wonder, who has heard of spoon theory? If you've ever spoken to me at all for any length of time about mental health, you may well have done. And if you've been following my page, it's highly likely that spoon theory has come up. Pauline, when you're watching later, we know that I explained spoon theory to the Emotional Literacy Warrior course last time around. Now, spoon theory, it's something that was coined initially for chronic illnesses, for pain management, but actually it can be linked to mental health as well. And it's the idea that you have a certain number of spoons each day. Unfortunately, they're not infinite. They are a finite number of spoons. And everything that you do loses your spoons. Kind of sounds a bit sad, really, doesn't it? Everything you do loses your spoons and gets you towards the end of your spoons. But there can be things that build up your spoon levels. So if getting up and getting through the shower costs you 2 spoons out of 12 for the day, you have breakfast which costs you 1, and getting ready to leave the house is 2, you've already lost 5 before you even leave the house in a day. But there are things that can build your spoons, like being in the sunshine could be 2 spoons. Having a coffee in a break or getting outside in a break could be 1 spoon, or talking to a friend that you trust could be 1. So I really want to get away from the idea that everything we do reduces the spoons to the point where we're absolutely worn out. But the idea is that it really does make you aware of your limits. Now, I'm glad I mentioned spoon theory, because now there's something different. Fork theory. So this is my magazine. So if you haven't seen Happyful, it's a brilliant magazine. It's a mental health and wellbeing magazine, and it comes out every single month. And if you subscribe to it, just doing a bit of a plug for them, you get 2 issues free a year. So it's been my Christmas present for about 5 years consistently from my brother, and I love it. So I'd really, really, really hate to miss out on the opportunity to get inside this and have a look every month. So we have an idea now of fork theory. So we all know about stick a fork in them, you know, stick a fork in me when I'm down, why don't you? That's the idea. So there are certain things that we can deal with every day. So if someone sticks a fork in us because they get annoyed with us on the bus, maybe we can deal with that. Maybe someone sticks a fork in us because they say our project wasn't that great or we didn't explain it very well. That could be something we could cope with. But then, if someone just comes over and at the wrong time sticks a fork in again, that's it. We don't have the bandwidth. We're losing spoons. Could have a meltdown. We could panic. We could be hiding away. And apparently this was created in 2018, fork theory. And of course there are other ways of doing it that are non-cutlery based to explain these things. And some people feel that because chronic illnesses was the key thing for spoon theory, maybe they're not comfortable using it to explain mental health. But I think it's really helpful and really useful to do that. So that is something that I talk about. It's not necessarily on the syllabus of my course, but I find it very, very, very helpful for me. And I suppose, Tracy, you're watching, so I guess I should say a session with my PT builds up my spoons, which it does. I'm not just saying that, everybody, it does. But sometimes I come to the session with slightly less spoons some days than others. So my story really kind of links back to when I was younger. There were various different types of trauma that I went through, and particularly things like bullying. And it impacted me as a person. It impacted me about who I am. And it kind of continued all the way through school. And you'd hear people say things like, adults, unfortunately, maybe there's something wrong with you because people keep doing this to you. Maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you're whatever. That definitely didn't help. And so when my dad's mum, my nana, died at the age of 12, I struggled with that. Why? Because I was told, rightly or wrongly, I'm an O'Brien. You deal with it. You put on your happy face, you go strong, and you get out there and you deal with it. And she wouldn't want you to be upset. She'd be disappointed, in fact. Whoops. Please never say that to a child. Or anyone, actually. That's not a good look. So, all the way through secondary school, things started. I was self-harming to deal with my depression. I was struggling with bullying again. And all these things kind of came to a head. First at university, because it was strange, it was a new thing. But I did go to the doctor then, and I did ask for help. So I have been on medication since I was 18, nearly 19. I'm 33 now, so 15 years. And thank goodness I was. So like Maria said, you know, that if medication is something that you need and that is something that will benefit you, then that is a good thing to know about and a good thing to understand. And then I went to teaching, and then that's where my breakdown happened. In 2019, unfortunately, I was bullied by my mentor, and it just, well, I think Terry can attest, it floored me, would be a way of saying it. Got to the point where I didn't want to get up and go to work because I wanted to die. Poor Terry had to leave for work, wondering whether I was going to go to work and if I was going to be home when he got back. And of course, at the time, in the middle of that, I didn't even consider it. Because you can't, because you don't have the bandwidth to consider that. So in the end, I got signed off by my doctor. And I said, I can't go back there while she's still there. And I didn't. But then there was a thing about, well, you know, we need teachers and maybe teaching isn't for you. And if you don't come back by a certain date, we'll look to test your capability via the disciplinary procedure. Well, guess what? I could plan and teach lessons. I just couldn't cope towards the end because I tried my hardest to do what I could for my form. My little year 7s who were really, really, really lovely. They held me together as long as I could be together. They didn't even know it. So I went to occupational health. That's not something that anyone ever loves, particularly not me. Particularly not Terry, who came with me. It did get to the point where I couldn't even get up off the chair in the waiting room. But she did say, yeah, your anxiety is protected by the Equality Act. And then you get things like, oh, so you seem very happy with the label of disability. Well, no, but I'm happy that I'm being understood. So, fast forward, I won't give you a full career journey, but you'll get the idea that I went to a part-time job and now a full-time job. Not in teaching. I'm never saying never, but it wasn't the right place and the right thing for me. So my idea was to help people. And the reason I wanted to help people was because, first of all, that's who I am. And second of all, somebody I knew had done the same. So a friend of mine was doing a mental health first aid course. It was her first course. She trained as an instructor. I went along and I thought, hey, I could do this. Again, Terry had to sit in some of the modules with me just on the bed or at the table. Because it's quite hard-hitting stuff when you've been going through things. But then I thought, actually, I could do it. So a lot of you know me, have known me since 2020, and you'll know that I was trying to plan a wedding in a pandemic, which is something that definitely depletes you of spoons and gives you a lot of forks, being stabbed into you with the different restrictions, being lifted and put back and lifted and put back. But 12 days before the wedding, I was doing my mental health first aid instructor training, obviously, because I didn't have enough to be thinking about. To be honest, it was meant to be August. It got moved. And I decided to give it a go, to start doing some courses at a reduced rate. And people loved it. I loved it. I realised that I can teach something meaningful and helpful. And I'm not saying that RE isn't meaningful and helpful, because it is, but it's something about my personal experience that people really relate to and resonate with. And so I've done courses all the way through 2021. And people have picked up things, small things, big things, maybe. The care model, for example, that I was mentioning in my posts, the idea of a structure of that conversation has been a game changer for people. Why? Because they realise they already do it, but it gave them a structure to help them. So, at the risk of talking about a lot of acronyms today, I'm going to say what the care model is, which is C is for check, so you're checking in. So that could be checking in on their safety, so whether they're thinking about self-harm or suicide, or just in terms of how are you. It doesn't have to be just self-harm and suicide. A is apply, so that non-judgmental listening, the active listening, the giving them time, the space, the quiet, the taking them to a spot that they feel comfortable, the listening and reflecting back. R is reassurance, so, it's great, thank you so much for trusting me and coming to me with this and helping me to support you. And E is for encouragement, because guess what? Mental health first aiders aren't meant to have all the answers. They're not counsellors or therapists. They are not psychiatrists. They are not expected to be bringing somebody along a long journey. They are triage. That is something that my friend Paul said, so I'm going to give him the credit. And it's a good explanation. We are triage, and we encourage people to seek further support, be that a helpline, a GP, a friend or family member, having a plan to look after themselves, be that going out in the nice sunshine in York or exercise, whatever it is. And just being there and having that conversation with them can be game-changing, because someone cares and someone's listening. So my courses, I run 4 at the moment, and NUCO Training, who are my provider. So what that means is I deliver their courses. So people do have the option to train as an instructor and deliver the courses like I do. But you also have the option to come to the courses and have the skills yourself. So level 1 is your basic, level 2 is a bit more detailed, and level 3 is the most comprehensive. But we also have a youth level 2, because we know how much young people have struggled. We notice that CAMS, or emotional wellbeing mental health service, as they sometimes are called now, are on their knees. So they need people who know young people, who care for young people, to be on their side. And that's why I do the training that I do. And NUCO have just released a children's one for 8, 9 to 13-year-olds. It's not something that I'm offering at the moment, but it's certainly something that I am considering in the future. But in amongst that, I do write bespoke courses. I do work with organisations, not only to train mental health first aiders, but to implement them in their structure, in their organisation. And I would love, love, love to help any organisations that you know to do that. So there are so many options. There's also mentoring. Okay, so that is for mental health first aiders in terms of a debrief if they need it as a debrief, or something else entirely, just a chat through ideas, or thinking about well-being plans, because well-being plans can really help in the workplace or personally. That's the mental health first aid side. That is why I got involved, and that is why I do what I do. And yes, I do it alongside a full-time job, oh my goodness, and being a trustee, and various other things, including volunteering for Shout, the crisis text helpline. But I spread all these things out. I'm very good now. Well, I like to say I'm very good now at spreading these things out. Some of that is a symptom of my anxiety. I was told I have extreme anxiety, and in order to try and bury the anxiety, I keep busy. Who's heard that before? People saying that before. And sometimes I'm better at managing it than others. Sometimes Terry has to say, whoa, you've done a lot. I've hardly seen you, even though we're in the flat of an evening. Take a step back. And Tessa, I don't know if you're still watching, but it's great to have you on here. And hopefully, if you're not here, you'll catch up. The mandala session that Tessa did last year has been an absolute lifesaver for me, because for somebody who doesn't draw, because I can't draw, I'm a stickmen person, but maybe that's not true. Maybe I can draw, but I have been doing mandalas, and I have been using the acrostic poetry, and I have been using that as a release for some of my emotions and some of the things that I've been dealing with. And so the second part of my business, which is the newer part of my business, is the life coaching and NLP. So I trained as a life coach and NLP practitioner back before Christmas. I'm just about to complete the Masters of Coaching component. And then we've got the NLP component coming in August, and there's an online course. But I'm also doing practices. So I've been practicing with people, providing coaching tools, support. And some people don't need necessarily the NLP. Excuse me. They just need a chat, somebody to be in their corner, to hold them accountable, to support them to grow and develop. And that's great. Perfect. And some people want the NLP, and some people come because of the NLP. And some people don't mind. Some people do a bit of both. And so you might have noticed that when I did my 5-day challenge back in February on values and value systems, which is incredible actually, the thoughts and the understanding of myself I've had from that is immense. But I put my age bracket as a coach for people, women, 20 to 50. I'm in that age bracket for a start, but I felt the need to just streamline it a little bit. I'm actually going to do another challenge in May, and I'm not going to put that age limit on it, because I would love more people to get involved in the challenge. It might be the values again. It might be something entirely different. I'm not sure yet, but if you have any ideas of how I can help you in that 5-day challenge and you want to be part of that, let me know. Let's get in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. I don't mind. It'd be great to hear your ideas. And I'm seeking to launch my brand new coaching program in June. Why June? It's my birthday month. Why not? And it's the Shine project, the Shine model. Shine because, if anyone's heard Take That Shine, catchy tune. And also because my Catholic faith. There's a line in the Bible in Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 to 16, and it says, "Let your light shine amongst men." If you put a light under a basket, it will not shine. Instead, put it on a table where it can shine for the whole of the house. So why not shine yourself? Why not show your talents? Why not understand your talents and your values and your beliefs and help yourself to keep developing? That's why it's the Shine program. And I go through the broad method, as in Norfolk Broads, but without the S. And that helps you to think about where you want to get to, where you are now, and how you're going to do it, basically. And on my website, there's an opportunity to buy coaching sessions. Everybody gets a free 30-minute discovery call. And then there's an opportunity to buy in bulk coaching sessions. And I'm going to have an offer coming. And I'm going to do that for people who are in this group. I don't know what that offer is going to look like just at the moment, but it will be an opportunity to be part of my Shine program and my broad method and really see whether that can make a difference to you, how it can make a difference to you. And so I'm working with a lot of people who are thinking about their self-esteem, thinking about their confidence, thinking about their next step. And I'm getting some amazing feedback, which is fab. And I feel like soon enough, when the Shine program is ready in June, I'll be ready to launch this as a paid offer, a paid offering, an option for people. And I will be letting my followers know first and the Now group know first. And I know that some of you are from Connections, and Connections will know first. So there's three people that will know about it first. So if you want to stay in the know, follow me or like my page, Cog Motion for All. So that is COG for Cog, Motion, as in emotion without the E, number 4, and the word all. My website is www.cogmotionforall.co.uk, or stay tuned in the Now group, stay tuned in Connections, and just keep asking questions. Keep asking questions of yourself as well. Where do I want to be? Where am I now? And a good key question that I have learned in my coaching that I need to finish on, because I think it will help a lot of people, is this. Where you're faced with an issue, think about, how is this a problem for me now? And where do I want to be? How is this a problem for me now? Because that helps you hone in on exactly what it is that might be bugging you. It might be something that could be changed or adapted. And where do I want to be? That tells you the gap in the middle. Why is this a problem for me now? Where do I want to be? Guess what? Together we can build that bridge to go from one step to the other. It raises your awareness, and share that with other people too. Sometimes, at the right time, somebody might need to hear that. So I really wish you a sunny day. I hope it's sunny where you are. It's lovely in York. We're going to go to Costa. We're off on a boat cruise, and we're off to the Jorvik Viking Centre, and I've definitely paid for and tempted Terry to go and do some crazy golf, Harry Potter-esque. I can't wait. But thanks so much for the comments. I've been looking at them as they've come through. I'm so glad that people have found it helpful. That's very kind of you, Andrea. Easy to listen to. I'm glad to hear that. And I really, really hope that your day is going to be great. And although I'm out and about, I'm definitely so excited to be tuning in to other people. I think it's Tracy next. I think, if it is, great. If it's not, sorry, but also good luck, Tracy, and everybody else who's doing it. And just one final thing to say is that a lot of you here are my friends. I've got to know you so well over the last 2 years, and I really, really, really can't thank you enough for everything. So take care, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.